And we are live, allegedly. I know that YouTube likes to lie about that, or Hangouts does, so I'll give it a couple seconds to actually not cut me off midway through what I'm saying. So, welcome to Sundays with Solus number 8 for the 30th of October 2016. I had to check what day it actually was. Apparently, it's Halloween. So, I'm joined here with Ike Darty, who
Hi,
is the founder and currently vocally challenged. I'm
I
Josh,
came
and
today as the voice of death.
if you caught some of the Hackfest from yesterday, you might have heard a little bit of that. That poor guy. One day that'll end, but not today. So, in the event you've been living under a rock, you may not have heard that we released Solus 1.2.1. This not only introduces a new budgie, improvements to the Software Center, and encryption and LVM support, but it also introduces the Solus Mate edition. And with 1.2.1 out the door and us shifting to the ISO snapshot model, many of you might be curious what we're going to be doing next. So I'm actually going to hand it off to Ike to talk about some of that stuff.
Well, to try and talk about some of this stuff. So
Right.
the next major target that we have is the Linux driver management. And a long story short, that's the stuff that's going to enable Optimus. So if you have a hybrid GPU laptop, it's kind of applicable to you. So that's kind of in progress at the moment. And that's kind of the highest priority thing to land next. After that, we are looking at making Budgie great again. because
Yeah.
it got to be done. So one of the first things we've done is actually split the code base up. That started in parallel to the LDM work. Basically, when Budgie started out, it was tiny. It was this little toy panel and a wrapper around libmother.
Yeah, and
Now,
it looked a bit similar to Chrome OS, and it didn't really have any theming involved or
right,
very
it had
little.
no actual features or anything. It
Right.
was literally a shell. So that's changed a lot. I mean, especially over the last year. Um, since Budgie 10, it's been a hugely different project. So we've started to split it up. I mean, at the moment, there's something like 22,000 lines of code in Budgie at the moment, which when you consider half of that is Vala, is kind of impressive.
How much of that is shims as well around GNOME stuff too?
A significant proportion. So in order to retain GNOME compatibility, we've had to do some weird things, like being able to talk.
Like being
um,
able to pretend we are what GNOME Shell in some instances, I believe.
yeah, so I made a boo-boo, okay? I'm willing to admit that now. Like, the initial goal was deep integration with GNOME. I've gone about that slightly the wrong way. It should have been that GNOME integrations would be able, start again, Nike. GNOME applications would be able to integrate with Budgie because we kind of like GNOME applications. They work. They do good stuff. I went about it the wrong way and made Budgie integrate with GNOME. That means we use GNOME session for a star. So to get the end session dialog that comes up in Budgie, which is really, really nice, that little thing you tell it to log out or power off.
Right.
To get that in the first place, in Budgie Window Manager, we have to pretend to be GNOME Shell. We use the dbus name org.gnome.shell. It's wrong. That then has to send a proxy over to the end session process, which is Budgie daemon, because you can't have GTK inside the mother process. So you have a further layer of abstraction just to proxy that out. Now, we use GNOME settings daemon. We want all of our stuff nicely managed. We want, like power management, volume notifications, all this kind of stuff is in GNOME settings daemon. Except, once upon a time, GNOME settings daemon used to register global keyboard shortcuts. So if you press the play button on a laptop keyboard, that would be handled inside GNOME settings daemon. It would send it to the right place. Nowadays, it's sent to org.gnome.shell. And the only place we can do that is inside the window manager. So there's a lot of places where we're forcing a layer of compatibility that otherwise would not exist.
That
Now,
really shouldn't exist to begin with.
really shouldn't exist. Now, to be fair, when we started Budgie, that was not an issue. There was no need. We had none of these shims. Things just worked. But as GNOME has changed, these compatibility options have kind of been, I wouldn't say forced on us because it's not like GNOME has to do anything. But because we chose to integrate with GNOME to keep working, we had to keep up with the upstream changes. Now, before anyone says, oh, you're having trouble keeping with upstream changes. No, I don't like the way we're having to do it. We have no issue keeping up with upstream changes. Is a case of, is it worth it? What do we actually get out of it? In the case of using Mother, honestly, not a lot. Yes, it provides us window management utilities. We could have easily have used a different window manager and used X11 specific hooks to handle the keyboard layout and things like that. Could have been done. Every other desktop does that isn't Wayland ready. So what it actually does is it locks us to Mother and removes any power to do anything because we're not free to change it. We're free to do animations, and that is all we can do in Budgie WM. It's
Yeah, I mean
animations.
we're not even free enough to do
Tiling.
some primitive tiling,
Yeah.
like quarter tiles or
We've no way of
3 pane
overriding that.
tiles, because that's all Mutter limitations.
Yeah. Now, before this is misconstrued, I am not insulting the mother project, although I have done in the past, and rightfully so. Okay, let's get out that out of the way. Rightfully fucking so, right? However, we want to do more with Budgie, and at the moment, it's like having an anchor around the leg. It was nice while it lasted, but with the direction Gnome is heading in, it's a core vision and process that is no longer compatible with our views and our processes. So that's the decoupling of Budgie from Gnome. It's not going to happen overnight. We're going to be doing several major releases, drop one large dependency at a time, and bring it down to a point where, it's just GTK. And even that one, it's not a safe bet. Now, this is for Budgie, the desktop. You're still going to be able to run your no maps because we got a lot of love for no maps. We
Oh
want to
man,
see that.
I love no maps.
I mean, a simple example, look at Gnome Weather. That is a beautiful looking app, right? They're utility focused, and that part of Gnome is compatible with what Solus and Budgie wants. The stack itself is not. And for Budgie itself, that means becoming a little bit more powerful, a little bit more independent. So to start that off, we've gone for a new modular approach, which is basically Budgie is a very large code base at the moment, and it's hard to get around.
It's a very large monolithic code base.
Monolithic is right.
Yeah.
It's just huge. So we split it up. You now have Budgie Core, which is the one component that every part of Budgie needs. So, for example, our core theming is there for the entire Budgie desktop, and in future we are gonna extend that to have things like better animation framework, accented colors and applications, that kind of thing. But that will all happen in time. At the moment, we're splitting up. So we got Budgie Core provides the G setting schemas needed by the whole desktop. At the moment, that is, do we use the built-in theme or do we use a dark theme? Traditionally, that's been stored in the panel. So this moves into Budgie Core now. That means something like Budgie Run Dialog or Budgie Poll Kit, they're now separate repos. They depend on Budgie Core. And the nice thing is, even if you don't want all of Budgie, you'll now be able to run those components anywhere you want because there's a proper dependency model. So if
Right.
you're running a bit of a custom session, you can say, I just want a Budgie Run Dialog. So the panel's been split out: Budgie Core, Budgie Daemon, Budgie Poll Kit, Budgie Run Dialog. I'm sure there are others. And it will grow with time. I'll add like a Budgie session. There will be actual settings daemon involved. So the evolution has started.
Well, and the great thing about it being modular and the way it's being refactored is we're able to iterate separately on these individual components as opposed to having one monolithic code base where we'll do changes to, say, Budgie Run Dialog, and then that's in the next version of Budgie rather than just in the next version of Budgie Run Dialog or something. So.
Yeah, I mean, we've had that before where there'd be a nice little change that's in the Budgie desktop. But because it's one large repo, it might not be simple. Just say, this change depends on that change, and I can't put those changes in because the other stuff is not broken. This stuff is still in development.
Right.
So with that, we got to move to a semantic versioning as well. So the next major version of Budgie will be Budgie 11.0.0. And it's not like we're starting fresh. It's a clearer view. It's a better architectural approach. So as you say, if something's broken or it needs improvement in Budgie Run Dialog, we can just push a minor update out for that.
Right. We don't have
wait for
to.
everything.
Right. I was gonna say, like, we don't have to justify having an entire Budgie release dedicated to, say, a couple fixes in
Yeah.
a single tiny component or a large component in the case of something like the window manager.
I mean, the version number we have now should be indicative of the problem. 10.2.8. That's kind of messed up. So moving to full semantic versioning now, and going forward, it won't all happen at once. But Vala is being dropped from the core, and I've explained my reasons for this. And please don't go running around on Reddit and Google Plus saying Solus is now using C and not Vala. You should all look at this. No, it's applicable to Solus. It's applicable to what we're doing. We need that level of control. We need to be able to use industry-proven tools. They do not exist for Vala. Now, while some might say C is manual memory management, C is, quote, harder. I C is my primary language. The thing that people have to remember as well, C has been around an awfully long time. There are industry proven tools out there for correctly producing a C-based project. I mean, all of our projects now, at minimum, we use Clang format and Scan build whenever we're doing any of these. We're doing static analysis, we're ensuring code consistency. So we'll be doing that, and it will be awesome.
So what else is happening in the future besides those two absolutely monstrous items? One where we're going to have dynamic switchable graphics, and one where Budgie is completely refactored and revamped and NC and beautiful and have all these lovelies. And
I mean, in the spirit of, all of this is architectural improvement. So the wrong word for any of this would be to use rewrite, because it's not rewrite, it's enhancement. So the Linux driver management for us is a successor to our existing system of GL driver switch and duplicate to handle it in a more agnostic fashion, one that isn't tied specifically to Solus. For Budgie, we're making it modular, so it's easier for us to maintain, and we can enhance it even more. So the next natural item on that list is EO package, our package manager. It's Python. And it's not to say that here at Solus we despise Python completely, just mostly. So there's a time and place for Python. Plumbing is not it.
I don't know what those places are at this point, but I'm sure there are places.
Like when it's like deep plumbing for anything, it should not be used. Case in point, OpenStack. Just ease up the Python there. Now, EO package is completely Python. It does the job. It does it well. I would like to improve it, and again, I want to apply the same principles for other Budgie projects that are C as well. And it's very difficult to achieve what I want to do with Python. So the next major version will be called Sol, as in SOL, because the name is no longer applicable. EO package was from when we was Evolve OS. Those days are kind of gone. So with this, we'll be completely dropping Python there, which means the legacy format also completely dies as well, which is the actions, py, and bspec. That would be completely dead, with only the Y package format left. So I imagine people here now are going to be a bit confused. Y package is the build tool. That's the thing you use to build EO packages. EO package is the package manager that installs those packages that Y package is built. So there's a clean separation between those, which you kind of have to do, right? And with Sol, like all of the C projects in Solus, we mandate that our C projects use a minimum of C11, not C89, not C99, not GNU C. It has to be a minimum of a fully C11 compliant compiler, because we are using nice features like C11 atomics, because Solus only comes on 64-bit machines. We know these features are there. We can use a lot of syscalls that we would have to consider first if we was available, say, for 32-bit, like send file on mmap. Because this is specifically for Solus, because it's 64-bit only, we can optimize the absolute shite out of it and provide something that is true to the current evolution of Solus, including our goals for statelessness. And to be honest, it will be a hell of a lot faster as opposed to Python.
I think if there's anything to get out of this, it's nothing is sacred here at Solus. Whether it's the tooling we use or even anything down to the package manager. If it needs to be changed, we will gut it and we will replace it with something better.
Well, I mean, so I'm a bit cautious about using the word replace, because then people tend to say, it's like, oh, you're always doing all these different things. It's like, it's the same vision. It's the same principles. It's a constant evolution. You have to adapt or die. Solus is very good at adapting, and we're also very good at realizing when even our own software no longer meets our needs. And that's not to say that these don't meet our needs. It's just in future the needs we have will not be met. So we are preempting that and making sure we're ready. And we like fast optimized software that's easy to debug, has minimal dependencies. Like for Sol, we want to make sure that that is as protected as possible from any package operation. With it written in Python, it makes the core of the system larger, and it means we have to be very careful in how we handle packages that are manipulating Python during updates. With that gone, we drastically shrink the size of the core operating system, drastically simplify it, and make it that much more powerful. And then it's not Python. Over to you.
Well, I was wondering if you wanted to talk about some of the work that you and Sunny Flunk have been doing on optimizations and all those goodies with AVX2 and SSC and.
Yeah, so a while back we added some support to Y package. We adopted some changes from Clear Linux inside our glibc package, which would enable us to load custom libraries from a custom path if the CPU was capable of the AVX2 instruction set. To simplify that, newer processors, i.e. Haswell Plus on Intel, and I think it's AMD Bulldozer forwards, support the AVX2 instruction set. Because we build all of our packages to work on all x86 64 machines, there are certain optimizations we can't make. As a way around that, we can build core packages with these extra AVX2 instruction set optimizations, which will only be used on the machines that can use them and not cause problems for existing users. So that patch was taken from Clear Linux into glibc, and then we've implemented the support on the Y package side. So basically, instead of the libraries being loaded from user lib64, for example, they'll be loaded from user lib64/avx2. So they're completely separate. You don't link against them. It just magically loads them. And we basically finalized the support for that yesterday so that we can build 32-bit and 64-bit versions of these AVX2 libs with all of our existing PGO work and all the optimizations retained. So some of these packages are going to take a very long time to build now. But it does mean that you will have more hardware optimized libraries available. So in the morning, Peter's going to be working on testing some of those. And the ones where we can make a performance gain, they will be enabled out of the box. So for people whose processors don't support this, there's no change for them, there's no regression. For people with CPUs that do support this, after updating, they just automatically start using the new libraries. No extra work, nothing to do, nothing to install. It will just start working, and things will just start getting faster. Because why not?
Sweet. And speaking of things that have been happening recently, this weekend it was out with the old and in with the new as we threw out WordPress, thankfully about time, and launched our new Hugo-based website. So we feel this website better represents the project. It delivers more concise information explaining Solus and Budgie and some of the information regarding those two and supporting the project, and enables more flexibility and possibilities for the future of not only the website, but as well as our web infrastructure. So I won't actually be talking about those plans for the website right now during Sundays with Solus. But if you read the upcoming This Week in Solus, that will be happening on later today/tonight, there will be information regarding the website there. So there's a lot of things in store for the new website. And if you care to watch the 11 hours of the Hackfest that happened yesterday, so 3 of those hours were on my channel and 8 of those were on the Solus one. So those that happened yesterday, which was a lot of work. You might hear me blabber on a bit about that because apparently I can't keep my mouth shut about that sort of thing. We have a tendency here at Solus to not be able to keep anything secret. So it's a big problem.
Yeah, we're
So
really not good at secrets.
yeah, no, we're really not. So speaking of those 11 hours of Hackfest, I was accompanied by Brian, aka Data Drake. He was the typical triage and packaging champ, just blowing through packages and the bug tracker yesterday. So he landed a bunch of games such as GZ Doom, Sienna, Mr. Rescue, Duck Marines, L Breakout 2, I think is what's called, and Witch Blast. He packaged GX Message, Shell Check, and all the Haskell libraries around that, which, I mean, just all the Haskell work he's done recently is just an absolute monster. And he's fixed packages such as Gnome Builder and even more. So it's safe to say our Hackfest was really productive, and despite some maybe dry moments of watching, say, PHP be enabled with Perl Perl compatibility, you know, and the really boring dryness of watching that, it was actually a lot of fun. And if you tune in for the early parts, you even get to listen in on Ike and some of the strange things on Mumble that Blaz happens to let him or encourage him to.
There was a bit of whispering going on.
Yeah.
It got weird, and I should apologize, but it was funny.
It's our Hackfest. They're just strange like
They're
that.
always weird.
They're always weird and
I'm
just
glad to
sort
see
of.
L Breakout 2 is in.
Hmm?
I'm glad to see L Breakout 2 is in.
Yeah.
I want to play it.
See. So I think that's about it, unless you have any other crazy things that you want to talk about.
What, any bombshells I want to drop?
Yeah, I know you have all these
Yeah.
bombshells you tend to
What
drop.
was that? Wow. I found a way of talking. It's not gonna. No, it's not gonna last. Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
poor
Pardon
kid.
me. So one of the things that we've been drifting towards for a while, I haven't really officially confirmed, is the primary development languages of Solus. It's an often asked question that in the past had a bit of a fuzzy answer. So we are definitely moving away from Python. If we have something that's Python already and is Python bound because it's waiting for the new Sol replacement or whatever, then yeah, we'll take fixes for them. Vala is definitely being dropped. We just had too many problems. I spent over 2 hours yesterday just getting Budgie Desktop published between various versions of Vala on OBS. So Vala is not a Solus language at all. And not for that reason, for umpteen reasons over a series of years. We're dropping it. So the primary languages for Solus, for core things, like real deep plumbing things that everything needs to link against, things like Sol, those should be C and C11. For everything else, Go.
Hell yeah. Woohoo.
So if, even if it's a utility or it's a tool, especially if it's a tool, write it in Go. And I started to get some stuff together earlier on. I've got a little testing repo going on GitHub. Basically, I'm trying to standardize the make files that we use and ensure there's code compliance in all of them, because it might be difficult for some to start doing the vendoring of a Go repo and things like that. It can be a bit of a pain. So this morning I was putting together a standard way of doing these 4 Solus packages. A standard way of vendoring them using Git submodules instead of relying on Go Get. And part of the make file ensures that everything is pre-built, and essentially you put in your project name and your project root in this make file. And if you have a project called, I'm just going to say as an example from what I was doing earlier, GTK free, and your binary was going to be called GTK free. All you got to do is GTK free dot statlib or dot dinlib. Statbin or dinbin to decide if it's going to build those as a shared library or if it's going to build a static binary. And it's about as simple as that. It does all the vendoring for you. It also adds a make compliant check to ensure that everything goes through GoLin, Go format. It's going to integrate misspell with that as well. So that you can just copy that make file in to your new repo, add your Go files, and instantly be able to build, able to vendor, less fussing about. So Go is now our official tooling language.
And what license is that stuff under?
I'm going to make it all MIT.
Okay, cool.
Basically. At the moment, the demo stuff is in as Apache 2, but I'll just force everything under MIT, and then we can just take it. Really doesn't matter. The make file, I may even just make it public domain, to be honest, because I don't care. It's just as long as it makes it easier for people to get started. Because there's a lot of areas in Solus where it's like, ooh, if only we had a tool for that. If only there was a little utility to do this, especially for the build side of things. Like I've started redoing the Y package tools in Go. So Y auto and Y bump, they're going to be done completely in Go now. And that's shaping up nicely.
And we can eliminate some of the headaches with some particular Python packages that are used by our existing Y package that have a tendency to
rewrite the world.
Rewrite every little line and add weird line break, / ends and just completely bork everything. So
yeah, it does not like it when you've got like multiple lines.
No, it doesn't at all.
So I'm completely replacing that. I'm using Golang's Reflect.
I just really like Golang.
Yeah, it's a cool language. And I think at some point, go on then, let's have a random, I've decided is a feature now. People have asked for a repo browser. I will make you one. They was asked, what packages have you got? Well, if you do EO package search, but I don't have Solus in my system. Have you got an online package browser? No. So I'm going to make one.
Well, if you implement the sort of backend API stuff, I could.
Yeah, and then you do all the CSS and stuff. So I'll probably start it off with Bootstrap just so I can make the templates. I know, no, not as a deployment. Right? No, don't kill me. Just so I can actually do some templated files, and then you can go through and replace all my templated files with something that's not ugly. Deal? Perfect.
I'm triggered already. You mentioned Bootstrap. I'm just triggered.
I can't do like front end web dev